Hi, Tori.
Hello.
So how's your reading coming along?
That's good.
Yeah. What's good about it? Tell me about it.
Well, I read a lot of chapter books, and I like them because they're very adventurous, and they're very fun to read, and they have lots of mysteries about them.
Okay, I remember you did a book talk in December, and what was that book about?
It's about Rover Saves Christmas. It's about how Rudolph gets sick, and how a dog has to take his place to save Christmas.
Now, we've just finished the book talks, and a lot of the students have brought in like really interesting books. Were there any books that you've heard from your classmates that you really wanted to read?
Well, I did read a book that Kelsey did a book talk on. It was called Lucky Tea. It was about how a girl went to India since her t-shirt got sent there to help an organization.
And how was that going?
I read it. It was very good because it was very adventurous. And she went to India and she found her t-shirt, but then she realized that a little girl needed it more than she did. And so it taught a lot of lessons about how you're not as fortunate, other people aren't as fortunate as you are.
A couple weeks ago, I read to the class this book called Hecate Peg by Audrey Wood. Now, we were practicing the synthesizing circle with it. Now, I personally love this book. What do you think about it?
I liked it. It has good illustrations and a good storyline.
Okay, so when we were practicing the synthesizing circle, can I ask you what synthesizing means to you? What does it mean?
It means you get a little bit of information and then you predict what's going to happen, and then you add on to what your last prediction was once you get more information.
Okay, so how were you able to do it using the synthesizing circle here?
Well, you start your first prediction here, and then as you get a little more information, you go onward into bigger circles. What I wrote first is, after seeing the cover, I think it's about kids having a birthday party or sleepover party. I thought that because on the cover it looks like they're having lots of fun, like without parents, and like just having a lot of fun with lots of kids. And then now I think it's kind of like a Snow White. I think the kids will let her in, and she will either run away and not give them the gold, or it will be fake. I thought that because Hecate Peg, this old woman, came into the house and wanted them to light her pipe, but they weren't allowed using the fireplace. But she said if they lit her pipe, they'd give her bags of gold. And so she was let in, and she turned all the children into food for her to eat. Then she takes them into her hut to eat them, but right then the mother finds out, and she goes to the hut. And then I wrote, I think Hecate Peg has someone take her children away, so she actually cut off her leg. So now she's trying to get revenge, and then she will eat the mother. I thought that because Hecate Peg asked the mother to cut off her legs, then she can come get to her children. But I thought she will end up eating the mother as well.
So how useful was this synthesizing? How did it help you to understand the text itself?
I thought it really helped because you get to write down your predictions instead of just thinking them, and you get to write a couple of your predictions in the moral, which really shows you what the book was about.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that predicting is an important piece to synthesizing. Were there any other strategies that you thought was really important or critical to complete in synthesizing?
I used a lot of inferring to feel how the characters were feeling, and I used a lot of text-to-text and text-to-world and self. Okay,
so were you able to write it down while you were... You wrote some of these down?
Yeah.
Okay, I see where you made a text-to-self connection with Snow White and the predicting. How about the inferring? Did you have the opportunity to write that down?
Well, I wrote how Hecate Peg might have wanted revenge since probably her children might have been taken away. But I didn't write how the mother must have been really worried and scared.
Okay, so that looks like that's something that we can work on next. What other strategies were you able to use in order to complete the synthesizing circles?
I like to picture what's happening in the story in my head, which gives me a good idea of what's happening and what's around them. I also like to infer a lot because that way it puts myself in the character's shoes.
Now, Tori, I'm going to use that word that I always use in class, the metacognition, and how well we're able to think about our thinking. Now, how well were you able to use that or become aware of your thinking as you were completing the synthesizing circle?
Well, I used a lot of predicting, but I made sure that I was picturing it, which helped me understand the book a lot.
Okay. So, without me having to tell you what you're doing, you're aware of the names that attach to the strategies and what you're using to understand. That's very good. So our next step for this is to actually move on to working on predicting, working on visualizing with a synthesizing circle. Do you think that this graphic organizer is good enough to do it, or would you rather have something else?
Well, this does work really well, although if it was square, you could write probably a little more and not have to turn the page as much.
Okay, so I've got one right here, which I've thought about. Now, I hear from what you're saying about synthesizing is predicting is important. However, in my understanding, synthesizing is also being able to take the information and add new information to it to change your understanding of what the book is trying to teach you or your understanding of the book.